Yo guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be talking about tanks so far in 11.1. Now it is really early on and a lot needs to be fixed before anyone, including myself, can give an accurate tier list of any kind, but we can talk about how things feel right now and what kind of direction things are going. Across the board, tank tier sets all seem a bit disconnected from what we actually want as tanks, I'll be honest. All tanks have something called Luck of the Draw, which provides a random defensive for a duration and some kind of damage increase effect. Now, random defensive procs never tend to feel particularly good unless they interact with our kit or talents in a special way, especially if they have a low proc rate. There are a few outliers where things are interacting with hero talents or other parts of the spec, which just feel bad for the ones that don't really have anything like that, even disregarding the complete buggy and broken nature of things. If you haven't watched any PTR content yet, you're probably looking at the screen and wondering why Vengeance Demon Hunter is at the top, and it's because there is an unintended interaction right now between our tier set and our hero talent Fellsguard, basically making it so that every time you get a meta proc, it provides a full reset of your flame sigils and fell depth, as well as all the demon surge empowerments. It's resulting in some ridiculous levels of damage, and our meta uptime and Aki is at an all-time high. On the other side of things, you have Aldrachi Reaver, the other hero talent, which is also extremely bugged in both good and bad ways. Somehow when you empower Soul Cleave, it's basically just a permanent buff for the rest of the dungeon and just continuously hits 6 times, which is, as you can imagine, doing ridiculous damage. How I imagine they'll fix this is they'll either remove the Fellsguard interaction entirely or have it provide only the benefits of a regular Fell Dev, which is just empowerments to Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb, and then you don't get any resets. I don't think that's particularly good, but who knows what they'll do. I will say though, Demon Hunter being one of the tanks that suffer with gaps in their mitigation makes them one of the few tanks that actually benefit from the tier set design, so that does make them slightly better than Season 1, where they are actually already pretty okay. Prop Paladin basically got no real class changes. The tier set is a bit better than their Season 1, providing far more Shield of the Righteous casts, which result in more damage and CDR for your cooldowns, which results in more damage, mitigation and healing. However, the defensive proc is basically useless. I think based on the dungeon pool for Season 2, Paladin will probably remain meta unless something drastically changes. Now here I've put 3 tanks all together kinda, simply because they are all good in their own right, but all have glaring drawbacks compared to Paladin. Bear is extremely tanky still. It just got some frenzied regen changes and a new talent which allows you to bond with an ally for additional healing, and a new magic DR talent in replace of layered main. The frenzied regen changes are actually pretty nice. It means you'll have less to play with, but it will be more impactful. The new bonds talent is pretty minor, and the shake up of the class tree is kinda nice. However, the new magic DR talent being a 2.0 feels pretty awful and kinda forces you to path away from it. I think it's like 4% DR at most per point, which isn't great. It also forces you to path differently in the tree, resulting in a damage loss as you can't grab Fury of Nature at all. You still play Arcane Bear in keys, so your damage isn't great still, and Druid of the Claw is still too squishy to tank anything. The tier set basically does nothing for us to fix that, so Bear still has the same issues as Season 1, being just poor damage output really. Blood Decay is another tank that had very little change from season to season. The tier set isn't completely awful, although I'm not sure if it's intended that the tooltip suggests Death Strike can hit 15 additional targets. Defensively, it's pretty mediocre. Damage wise, it's also a nerf. So honestly, DK is coming out of this worse off compared to Season 1. However, DK does scale extremely well into expansions, so we will have to see how it plays out, but it's still going to be a low/mid-level key powerhouse for sure. Brew is one of the few tanks actually benefiting from their tier set in Season 2. They didn't really have any talent tree changes. However, the new tier set makes Master of Harmony significantly more appealing. More blackout kicks means more blackout combo Tiger Palms, which means more damage from overwhelming force. I am a little concerned with the magic damage coming our way in the Season 2 dungeon pool and not having the 10% DR from Shadowpan. However, Master of Harmony has the potential to interact with our tier set defensively too, applying Chi Cocoon whenever we get Fort Brew procs. This isn't working right now, but it's still worth noting. Brew has always been a weird one though, because the majority struggle to play it well enough to warrant picking it over another tank that is slightly worse but less complex. If you play Brew well, their damage output is very high, and it's only going to get higher in Season 2. If you play it poorly, the damage is really just beyond disappointing, and it really is polar opposites. And lastly, we have Protection Warrior. Now, Warrior actually isn't that bad all things considered. Their damage isn't great and it's going to be a little worse in Season 2 with the new tier set as well as some Rage Generation changes that they had. Defensively, the Rage Generation is going to hurt a little bit too. The thing that pushed Warrior down from the other tanks in my opinion is literally just the dungeon pool. I don't think Warrior is going to have a particularly fun time with how much magic damage and bleeds there are throughout, and that's why it's down here by itself. Essentially what it all boils down to is that unless something big shakes things up, I can definitely see Paladin being meta again. The other tanks aren't bad, but Paladin is just too good. Their tankiness, utility, damage, it's all just absurdly strong with no real drawbacks compared to other tanks, and things haven't changed yet. There is still plenty of time for a meta shift. It's the first week of many, so buckle up friends. Huge thank you to all of you for checking out the video. Hope you enjoyed it and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.